And we are back with segment 2 of the Remax Magnolia Real Estate Show with myself, Cutis Pope. And we have Michelle Cummins' better half, Richard Cummins, here with the wild card episode. I say better half just to annoy her.
Yeah, because I know it's not true.
Yeah, it just bugs her. And if she's not here, I guess I get back-to-back Cummins is because next week will be the stats show.
Cummins is
I don't know.
Yeah, it's the double header.
Yeah.
It's yeah, you know what? I'm enjoying this. It's nice to get together.
Yeah.
With Cutis,
chat a little bit.
His air conditioning works.
It does. They like to keep the gear cool.
And his I don't know. Hi, good evening, good morning. I don't know
What?
A radio voice. Like
radio
I need to find my.
I don't know. I just when my voice changed, it turned to this. And
There's Peter Brady moment.
It sounded kind of like Mickey Mouse before, and overnight it pretty much went to this.
Yes.
When I was like 14. It was fantastic.
Yeah.
Get to school and I start talking to my buddies. You see girls snapping their heads around. Who's that? Oh, it's Pope.
Ah.
But briefly had their attention, just briefly.
Yeah. Well, I mean, so did the greatest in Vancouver. Who am I talking about?
Well,
Red Robinson.
Red Robinson. Well, yeah, I worked with him for a while, and
you just knew when he was in a room.
You
heard
did.
That voice.
He had the voice, and he had a presence to him, and he would own a room when he walked into it too.
Absolutely. And Jim will tell you a story about Red owning a room that you walked into.
I will have to hear that one from him.
Oh, I wonder if I should say it.
I want to hear from him.
You want to hear from him?
I want to hear
okay.
from him.
So it's how did Red Robinson own a room? James.
I will ask him that one because I'm looking forward to. Because
I want to say it so bad, but James, okay, it's yours.
Because I, working with Red was a gift, and I used to love getting the stories from him. I'd be like, and he loved telling the story. So I'd be like, hey, Red, why don't you tell me about, did you ever do anything with, Jerry Lee Lewis? Well, let me tell you about Jerry Lee Curtis, and he'd have a story.
Right.
Every time I'd bring up an artist, he'd have a story or two, or what was Johnny Cash really like? Well, let me tell you, Curtis, and he'd just go on and on. It was amazing.
And he's the only one who saw Roy without his glasses, apparently.
Something like that. Yeah. He had lots of stories, and I loved hearing every single one of them.
So stay tuned, folks. In the coming episodes, you're going to hear how Red Robinson owned a room with James Minchuk.
I'm looking forward to it. Okay, so we were talking about the broker conference. We were talking about looking for people to join the team.
Yeah.
What else you got on your to-do list there?
Well, we're going to talk a little bit about real estate being in the news and concerning law and different things like this. Kind of finishing up last time from the first segment was one of the things too from the brokerage conference is something we all sort of know, but it's another type of thing that is said sort of unapologetically is just as with most discount outlets of a quick fast buck or they fail. They always ultimately end up failing, and you always ultimately are left with, like these discount airlines. They come and go, discount this, and we've just had we're 6 or 7 smaller brokerages just got bought by a huge conglomerate. They got consolidated, and it's happening. That's always, you think, okay, I was part of that when Vivendi Vivendi owned Universal Pictures, and they bought Water Pure and Simple, which became Culligan Water. I worked for a purification company, and you just get bought by this gigantic thing, and you think you're going to retain your you don't retain anything.
No,
you become.
You don't have your culture anymore. You have their culture.
Yeah, and then they can selectively close small. That happen with music stores too. They buy out all the mom and pops.
Yeah.
And think, oh, good, we have an undergirding of a big financial company. But then what they do, they start cherry picking locations.
Yes.
Guitar Center buys all the mom and pops. They say, well, you're going to close, and they're going to come to, whatever town is closest.
Yeah.
And that's that's been happening in real estate. You're seeing we actually are having a bit of a. It's not so much apparent, but we're having remember 2010 and the big crisis we had there. 1993 was actually a worse crisis, and we're more on par with that. But a lot of the people who are, it's almost like It's a Wonderful Life. You saved the Bailey Building and Loan, and Potter saved everything else.
Right.
It's like Remax has kept its head. A lot of people have kept its head, but the small guys are just they're going away. And there's something to be said about having a company that can weather the storm. That isn't really built on shifting sand, but a good foundation. So, those are going under. As an agent, you probably want to be part of an office that's going to survive. probably want your career to continue to grow and not stagnate. What happened with the big NAR lawsuit? So the National Association of Realtors, huge lawsuit in the billions, and everyone's sort of wondering, and they say real estate will change forever. You got all these headlines, but sort of the real estate people know about it. Just socially, I don't know if you've even heard about it.
I've heard little bits and pieces here and there, but I also kind of have my ear to the ground a little more because I do a show about real estate.
It's true.
So I like to know what's going on, right? So but I haven't heard a ton about it.
Yeah, well, funny enough, okay, I just got some notes here on it. They were, the assertion, okay, so what is the core assertion? Is that the homeowners are being forced to pay artificially inflated agent commissions when they sell their home, because brokers who listed a home for sale in any of the databases affiliated with the National Real Estate Association, NAR, Association of Realtors, like included offers of compensation for a buyer's agent. So NAR required the mention of a buyer's commission, and this was the crux of the issue. So does it, like, okay, does that sound necessarily bad? But they're saying somehow it's inflated commissions and even home prices, and this is where it gets shaky, because how does a commission work? So historically, an agent charges a commission to sell your home, and then out of those earnings, there's a commission, and that earning is, an agent will historically give a percentage to a buyer's agent as a to draw in and secure a buyer, you know, to get a. And we can't set a fee. There's been a law always saying that, you know, there's been averages you probably see, like the 7 and 3.5 and these types of things. In the States, there's usually just one percentage for the whole amount. We do a percentage on the first 100,000,
right, and
then a percentage on the rest. But so why was there a class action lawsuit? And it came from 500,000 home sellers in Missouri and some border towns. Okay, Missouri, they gave it to the entire real estate industry. Well, the National Association of Realtors. But it's NAR isn't a real estate board. It's not a legal. It's an association. So if you think, and it was the target of the lawsuit. So yeah, sued for $2 billion. You can be part of an association. It's like it's like being in a car club.
Right.
Even if you're in a Chrysler car club, it's not necessarily Chrysler. It's the car club. Or if you watched Prairie Home Companion, you ever see that?
Yep.
They're brought to you by the Association of Associations.
Yes.
The associations that. For
That's
associations, right. It's like, I always wondered if one of those exists.
It probably is.
But it's not a regulating body or anything. And being a part, like a real estate association, RE/MAX was part of it. And so RE/MAX took a look at this and said, this isn't inflating prices. So you can do it many ways. Some people they say, well, if I'm going to pay this much commission, I'm going to put that on top of what I want for my house. Because I say I need 900,000 for my house. So I'm going to put this commission on top, and it'll be 9, whatever. And some people say, oh, okay, I'm going to sell it for 900,000. You'll get your commission, and it's your. So a service has always been cost plus. Like there's no service that exists without sort of something changing hands. It's like in the old days, if it wasn't money, they'd say, I will fix your wagon wheel, and can I have a pumpkin or something?
Yeah.
Please. So this lawsuit is really interesting because a lot of people got on a bandwagon for, I knew those realtors. So the fact that a buyer gets a buyer, and what they want to do is make a separate buyer's commission where the buyer's agent would then have to provide, the buyer would have to provide the commission for and they're really complicating things because it's worked this way for about 100 years. It doesn't inflate home prices if someone puts their commission on top of the price of their house. It's like doing any sort of business here. I mean, right down to Craigslist, people are making a value judgment on what they have, and you're making a value judgment whether you want to buy it or not. So this whole lawsuit of this association, NAR, RE/MAX immediately pulled away from NAR, even though it's a good association. They were the target. And RE/MAX said, we're going to pay our portion of this class action. Whether we're not saying we've done anything wrong. Nothing is wrong. It's really a catastrophic fail on common sense. But what RE/MAX did is the strength that RE/MAX has is they paid their portion. I think it was $55 million. They said, we're going to pay this, and we're going to carry on, and we're going to move forward, and we have no ethical violations, and even though this is going to go appealing for years and years.
They're just taking the high ground, going, you know what, fine, here's our portion, we're out.
Yeah, we're out, and we're
Peace
going to
out.
carry on.
Yeah.
Peace out. So the appeals will go on for years. We're going to find out eventually that this is like a completely, it's just a lack of information and people getting fired up. So if you've heard about that, should you worry? And the answer is no. Things are going to be fine. Things are going to be business as usual. You want the agent to share their commission with the buyer because you're getting a more serious, secured offer.
There's incentives there.
Money tends to do that.
Yeah. It does do that, doesn't it?
So don't be worried about NAR, because it's going to be coming up more and more. So you heard it here first, folks.
There you go.
Yeah, Unstoppable starts here.
I like it. Now, you said you had some light at the end of the tunnel, too, I believe.
I do. And so, have you heard of the Silver Tsunami?
No, I can't say that I have.
It's not a Marvel's movie thing.
Okay.
It's in 2030, they say, so this is only about 6 years, is we're going to have another big generational switch. So the silver is the hair.
Right.
There's going to be a transfer. I think if I get, we'll do some fact checking. I think it's going to be a minimum $30 billion wealth transfer generationally. And most of that's in real estate. So there's one last sugar rush that we know of that's coming for real estate. A lot of people, because we were talking earlier about the 93 and the, it is a balanced market right now, and a lot of realtors are getting scared. Hang in there. 6 years, get your planning done now. When it was a buyer's, when we were paying over asking, we were always complaining that we didn't have enough product. We need more homes. We have 30%, 7% homes availability now. So now we can't cry and moan that we don't have nothing to sell. You've got lots to sell. Hang in there, do it. There's enough real estate for everyone. That's what Michelle always says. 6 years, we're going to see a massive move in real estate, massive, and you got to be ready for it. You got to get your education in, get your license, come to Magnolia office, be prepared, and
so it's the baby boomers then passing on generational wealth to the Xers.
Yeah, and they know basically from stats and age statistics, like we know this is going to happen. There's no such thing as a sure bet, but you can bet on it.
Yeah, I follow you.
And that is the light at the end of the tunnel. 6 years, folks. Like friends like my friend James, who changed careers, not an easy thing to do, and he's here with us, and I tell him, look, best is yet to come.
There you go, because that's Rogers, that's our saying.
Is it?
That was Ted Rogers' thing, the best is yet to come.
I like it.
We have that on all of our stuff when you go into like Rogers buildings, the best is yet to come.
It must have like influenced me.
I don't think we have it in here, funny enough. We got it everywhere else, but we use that phrase a lot within Rogers Media.
Best is yet to come. Well, do I owe money to say that? Or?
Yes, you do. I will send you a bill.
Thank you.
You'll get an invoice.
See, above reproach.
All right, well, with that pretty much brings us to an end here. But if people, again, want to join the RE/MAX Magnolia team, maybe want to see the listings you guys have, want to come down for candy, what do they got to do?
They come to First Ave Mission. You can't not miss it because we have new signage on every corner. We're on the corner of First and Welton. James.
Yeah.
Oh, almost giving away secrets here.
I know that.
Don't come to my house.
Yeah. First and James.
First and James. And Magnolia Real Estate, Magnolia Realty. Google us. What does Michelle's sign say? It says Google. It says Google us.
That's right, Google us.
Michelle Cummins.
Or go back to RE/MAXMagnoliaRealty.com.
And RE/MAXMagnoliaRealty.com. And I'm going to actually write phone numbers and things down on my sheet.
All right, well, always a pleasure, and I'm sure we'll talk again in the coming weeks for another Wildcard episode.
Absolutely.